I'm going to feed these little guys here. You can see they're starting to get with it pretty good. They're liking this feed and they're really growing. I'm waiting for Tata to come and help me. I need to do a water exchange in these two tanks, and we don't have that green net in that tank. That's what it was made for. But I really need to do a water exchange because it's not so bad in the tank where the fry are, but in this tank where the breeder fish are, I need a little water exchange in there. And we also need that net in there. Now I think, what you doing, Red? I think there are fry in this. Oh yeah, I can see them. They're big fry. Now where they came from, that's a different question. I don't think they're from that tank over there, and I'm not sure how long these adults have been in here. So I guess what we need to do is we need to fully drain this tank and get the adults. You know, we have the big net in it, so we can take the adults out no problem. We need to get all the fry out of this so we can put that other net in there. So I'm going to go find Tata and we're going to get on this before it gets dark. You know, I was absolutely sure that I'd bought 4 caps, even though that far end there didn't have a drain on it. But can't find it. So Tata's going to use a piece of round wood. What we need to do is block off there's a tube down at the bottom to allow water exchange, and maybe I'm thinking that some of the fry, and we didn't have a screen over it in the beginning, so some of the fry from that tank have gotten into this tank. So what Tata is going to do is make a little piece of round wood, the correct size, and we're going to gently drive it up in there and use it as a plug. And we're going to put this net kind of sorted down in that bucket and drain the water into it. That way we can save the fry. Now if all the fry are the same size, that tells me that they're from that other tank over there. But if there's a couple different sizes in here, that means that there's fry from that tank over there and fry that have been hatched in this tank. So if there is, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer them all into this tank, because those are the fry that we got out of this tank. They're the generic run-of-the-mill tilapia. So if they're mixed in this, I'm not going to, well, it depends on how many there are. If there's only a couple dozen, then we'll pick them out. We'll pick if we can tell the black tilapia from the others, then we'll separate them and put the black tilapia over there. I'm thinking we're not going to be able to tell the difference, or there's going to be too many. And if that's the case, then they're going in this one. That's good, Tate? Alright. Needs to go in this tank, Tate. Alright, so Tata is going to insert the plug. Is it cold?
We have a pipe through the hole.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a pipe going through.
Yeah.
So that's the one we need to plug up.
Yeah. The oxygen pipe.
Ah, okay. Well, we need to remove it then.
I'll remove first.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Just pull it through and leave it in. In fact, we got to take it all out, so let's just remove it all. Alright, well, this is working reasonably well. We're catching a lot of them, and they all look like they're all large. So I'm thinking they're all the black tilapia that somehow or another migrated over. Even when we lifted the adults out, there were still like a half a dozen that were caught in there. A couple of them, we even killed a couple of them because I forgot we had stones set in the bottom, and the stones rolled around and got them. So yeah, it's definitely time to get these out of there. I'm surprised they're as large as they have, because I've been putting the lion's share of the feed in the other 3 tanks. Alright, we maybe should have started this a little bit earlier. We are running out of daylight. The tank is draining really fast, but still. There are some really tiny little fry in there that have hatched out from the breeders, and there are giant tilapia, but they're obviously different. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the big tilapia, the big ones, back into that tank, and we're going to put the small ones in this one. Tata, is that one right there? Yep. There. We had trouble securing this net at first. I'm sure we've lost a few. Big one. There's a fry in there that's too big to get out through that hole. Tata is picking them out. Let me see.
No.
So they are big. They're fingerlings now.
Okay.
And you can see the little tiny ones in there. So the breeders that were in this tank have been breeding.
This tiny one we put there?
Yeah, there in this one. So we've taken out about a dozen. I'm sure there's many, many more in there that just haven't managed to get out the drain yet. We have no other place to put them except in here, so that's where they're going. How many you got there, Tata? Handful?
More than 10.
More than 20, I think. So that makes about 50 we've put in here. And this tank is full of them. It's full of them. Now you can see why I wanted to have the screen in here, and why it should have been in, from the size of these fry, why it should have been in, I'm thinking, 3 weeks ago. But we didn't have the screen 3 weeks ago, for one thing, and another is that we've had a lot of other stuff to do. So really, there's a lot of fry in here, large and small. And how we're going to get them all out, I don't know. But we're going to have to before we put this screen back in it. Alright, this ain't no way to do it, but since the drain isn't quite as good as it needs to be. You know, learn as you go. We're definitely going to make these tanks, put a V in them to make them easier to drain in the future. I mean, they were never, you know, it never occurred to me that we would need to drain them, totally drain them that often. And this is kind of an extenuating circumstance. We wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't a bunch of little fry in there. And Tatai has moved all together, he says, about 200 into here, the small ones. And we've moved about 100 of the giant tilapia back into the tank they're supposed to be in. It's enough, Tatai? Just, all right. Okay, let's finish. Let's put the net in.
We have a small amount of dirt.
Alright, well I was busy doing instead of videoing. What we did right there, you can't really see it now because we've got the small screen in place. We ran the air line back through, and then we cut a little piece of this net and tied it to the blue pipe that is sticking out from the other tank. Made a little hole, ran the air line through it. Yeah, different design definitely is going to have to be done here. Tata and I we're gonna get this figured out. I was thinking of using the PVC, but there's also the way that they do it where we got the fry, just putting a stick across this way and lifting the net out, and you kind of corralling them down on this end. Might try to do that too. This is a learning experience here. So the air's hooked back up. You know, that mosquito tasted delicious. We're going to put the breeder fish back in first. We'll wait for the water to get a little bit deeper. It's draining in from the other tank. I'm going to wait for it to get a little bit deeper and then put the fish in it, put the stones back in it, because this airline, look, in a perfect world the airline would be on top of the screen, but don't want to make holes in it, so it's just like it's going to be. The bubbles don't really like to come up through that screen, and it makes big bubbles instead of little ones. There's going to have to be some definite design changes here for just ease of operation. That's why I wanted to put the PVC boxes in, because it would just be so much simpler. Alright, so we'll wait a little while and we'll put the fish back in it, and then we'll complete the transfer. Alright, well, the transfer is complete. We've got both the nets back in. It'll be much simpler next time. So we moved at least 200, we didn't count them, we moved at least 200 over into this tank, and about 100 of the giant tilapia back into their tank they're supposed to be in. We did injure one of these fish because we didn't remove the stones first. Again, another reason for the cages. Also, what is needed is a T of some kind on this airline, so it's not going through that transfer pipe. We just need an elbow, an elbow, an elbow, an elbow, and do it that way. because as you can see, it's floating up. The bubbles don't like to go through that screen, so it's floating up the screen because air is getting underneath it, because the air is underneath it. And so the aeration hose needs to be on top of this fine screen but below the net, or on top of both of them, either way. And so it needs to be able, we need to be able to lift it out of each tank without having to pull it all the way back through, so that we can just, you know, we can lift it out of this tank easily. We just lift it out and move it to the side, move the nets, easy peasy. But on this one, because we just haven't got around to it, haven't had the materials, we've been running the line in this one through that hole. And what I need to do is get some elbows and some more of this hose and just fix it so that if we wanted to transfer these fish out, we'd just remove the line and make it easy. And same at the other end. Alright, Tata and I are tuckered. I'm going to have to babysit this. It's probably going to take it, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours to fill up. So, and it's probably, I don't know, 8 o'clock now, so it's going to be a late night. But I needed to know where I was at. And we got the fry out. This is back to the way it's supposed to be. All the giant tilapia fry are over there, so we're good to go. We accomplished what we needed to accomplish. Ran out of daylight, but we got it done. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.